Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. Welcome back to my channel. Boy, today is a day, is it not? It is the day before the big day where we get to decide if we're going to remain a democracy. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium. I do political predictions on YouTube, but I also have a whole series of self-help videos that you can check out that would be really helpful for you right now. Okay. I am channeling this. I'm about 40% Susan, 60% spirit guides, although I'm probably going to turn the volume up on the spirit guides a little bit for this because the human part of Susan has no business talking to anybody about this stuff right now, right? Well, because not because of anything bad is going to happen, but because, we're human. We can't help it. We assess things and we put them through our cognitive filter, the spirit guides are saying, of fear, anxiety, of what we've experienced in the past and what will allow to happen in the future, right? So this is where we are. Americans are are allowing something new to happen, something magical to happen. And a lot of them are allowing this to happen because their choices are such that they may not want this particular person to be in the presidency, but they cannot. They feel like they have no choice, basically, is what it boils down to. Okay. So, yes, I still see Kamala Harris winning. I still see her winning by margins, big, huge margins. Okay, now before I get into things, I want to just say this. It is a shite show because the guides have said this before. Okay, so they're telling me to remind you that we've been saying this for a while, but it's good to repeat things. The usual states, these would be the states that are the swing states, as we call them here in the United States. They're the states that the Electoral College has decided are going to decide everything, pretty much. So those states get a lot of attention, they get a lot of visits, and they get a lot of just kind of focus, energy focus. Now, because of that, the Republicans have hit those states really hard. Like we know, it's been reported. I believe this is true, although I'll take this opportunity to say this is for entertainment purposes only. And this is only my opinions, just so that I can stay on the right side of the law, right? So we know that Mr. Musk has been busted transporting people across state lines to have them door knock and paying them. And we know that once that was discovered and investigated and basically blown open, that the reporting is that his PAC, his political action committee, walked away from those people and left them stranded. Now, these people were supposed to be knocking on doors and they were supposed to be getting, they had a minimum number of doors that they had to knock. It was a very high number. And a lot of people say it's just not even possible. So on one side, you have those political agents paying for people to come to the rallies, paying for people to go knock on doors, pay to play. That's their seems to be their entire energetic quotient, right? Like we pay judges allegedly, we pay off people allegedly. It's all about pay to play. We pay other countries pay us. It's all about the money. Okay. Now, on the other side of the equation, you have Kamala Harris, who people are door knocking because they love her. They believe in democracy. They believe in her vision of democracy. They believe that that matches their vision of our society. And they're happy to do so. And they're doing so with fervor. Okay. That should tell you everything you need to know. If one side, everybody's excited to promote, to talk to people, to get the word out, to help, to volunteer, and then on the other side, you're being paid and abandoned, you can kind of tell. You can kind of see for yourself. You don't have to be psychic to figure that out, right? So, but what I do want to tell you energetically is that there have been energetic constraints, the words they want to use, put on these swing states like Georgia and even actually Florida, but North Carolina, Georgia, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Nevada, whatever, Arizona, all of those states, whatever states that the Republicans think are in play for the Democrats. Now, these also, the guides are showing me, would be states that have big metropolitan cities that would be more diversified in as far as race and higher educational pockets of people. So you might look at Atlanta or Minneapolis or whatever. I don't know, but they've really focused on these states that have these cities, okay? Because the city is that's the pocket of high population that kind of carries the state. If it ever does go blue, that's what carries the state, because then you have lots of rural areas that tend to be more conservative. Okay. My point is that the Republicans have attacked, and that's the word that they've used twice now. They talked about this to me this morning, and it's not like them to use a word like that, but that's the word they're using for a second time. The Republicans have attacked these states, and there is another word that just used, was battled or in battled. So that means when I read on those states, it's a shite show. Like, I can't tell heads or tails. I'm pretty sure Debbie Marcoso Powell is going to win, but I also know that she's going to be fought, and shenanigans are going to happen. And I can't predict when, number one, free will, the thing is still happening tomorrow, right? So free will is still in play. Will they buy 15,000 votes? Maybe. If they buy those votes and those people's free will is usurped because they need the money, then I can't read that. That's not psychically available, because those people are acting against their own energy. Their energy that they're putting out into the world is different than their actions. Okay. So that makes it very hard to read it. But the thing that I want to share with you, which I think is brilliant, is that forget that. Forget, I mean, don't forget it, but the words they want to say is in spite of, right? That's a better way to put it. In spite of Atlanta, Georgia, these swing states getting controlled and contested and their free will being subverted, we have other states like Iowa, right? The guides talked to you about Iowa a while back, and Nebraska and Montana, not to mention Arizona. Right now, we know California, Washington, and Oregon, and some of these other states are going to go blue. We know that, but there's going to be some states that were considered to be pink or red that are going to go blue. And this is what I love about this, because the Republicans, and that's also why I haven't talked about it that much. Like, I've only mentioned it once or twice, but the Republicans have, when you get in your ego, and you just know, like, I know I've got Nevada, I know I've got Iowa, I know I've got Nebraska. I mean, I'm not even going to put any money there. I'm not even going to pay attention to that. I know I've got it. That's when you get your lesson handed to you, right? When you make assumptions, we all know what that means. You make an ass out of you and me. So, this is what's happened. The red states are going to carry us. So even though the shenanigans are going to lock up, and I mean just like gridlock some of these states that are swing states, to the point where, like, it gives me a headache when I go into the energy. I get a headache because I just saw the federal government trying to come in and say, look, you know, a higher court, we need somebody to sort this out. They can't even agree on that. I mean, it's the point is the delay. The point is the destruction of our free will. And in all ways, the point is chaos. If they can make Americans feel like our vote doesn't count, it's all rigged, it's stolen, the courts are against us, the government is broken. If they can make us feel like that, then we're just 5 steps closer to an autocracy or a dictatorship. That's the point. It's not really, the point isn't about Powell winning or Scott winning. It's about the chaos. So remember that and stay focused, stay grounded, focus on the good that is happening. Please try not to only see the bad. And when you meet people and they're like, this place is terrible and justice is never done, I need you to inoculate yourself from them, insulate yourself from them, because that's not true. That's what the bad guys want you to think. This is such an important message. If you think that, then you won't go to the polls next time. And that's what they want. Okay. So please don't focus on the negative because meanwhile, while they have attacked, embattled some of these swing states, well, Iowa's doing its thing. Other states are going to bring her over the finish line. And I think that because media thrives on horrible news, yeah, you're going to hear what? This state came through for Kamala Harris, but because the swing states are embattled, that's just going to get thrown into the fire. This big, what do you call that when I don't even know. Just think of a great big huge fire um, of uncertainty and anger and bitterness. And that's what the media is going to feed you. That's what the media is going to feed Americans. Okay. And the people that were really kind of cautiously optimistic about voting for Kamala Harris, but were Republicans, are going to kind of feel there's this sense that we get our joy stolen from us. Okay. It's not true. She wins. We have Congress, we have the Senate. None of that is true, but that's because it is so ugly, it's not clean. And we've been through so much. We just want something to be clean. We just want it to be without refute, is what the guides are saying. It's not going to happen. So I'm just here to warn you. Is it upsetting? Maybe. But if you didn't know this and then next week you were like, God, I'm so tired for all this to be over. Well, I'm just here to tell you it is over. It's about your perception. If you join them, if you join them in their fracas, a villainization of our democracy, then it's not over. If you can sit back and go, wow, she brought these red states. Wow. Look at all these numbers of people that are first time voters, or look at all these numbers of people who switched parties. Look for the positive, you guys. That's how you're going to get through this. It's there for you. It is there for you. We are going to win, but it's going to look like a shite show. Okay. So I'm just telling you, that's their plan. Don't fall for it. Please don't fall for it. And if your family or friends start saying negative things, either A, insulate yourself, which means agree with them and walk out of the room, or say nothing and walk out of the room. Because if you just start trying to lift them up, sometimes their anxiety has found a home and they want to be there. They want to roll around in that anxiety. They're not ready to hear somebody talk them out of it. Number one. Number two, if you do talk them out of it, they've given their anxiety to you. Now you feel like caca and they're happy. No, don't do it. Don't do it. Save yourself. Walk out of the room, end the phone call, stop hanging around with them for a week. Save your own sanity. We got this. We got this. Okay. But are they going to contest this? Yes, we've already been telling you this for months. For months, we've been saying this. We are here. She's going to win. They're going to contest it. And they're going to contest it as long as they can. Now, here's what's going to save us, basically, is that the numbers are too big. When you have numbers like this, huge numbers coming in, the courts are not going to touch that. The spirit guides are saying it's like a red hot iron. You're not going to touch that. that would be, you know, I mean, I don't want to use too many bad words here because I'm already over my limit of words that I've used that could get me singled out, especially the day that it is. But, it could get you in big trouble, right? I mean, it could take you out of your seat. It could get you to be under attack, under scrutiny. You could be under scrutiny. And a lot of these people don't want to be under scrutiny. Once investigative journalists start looking at them, well, they find things, don't they? They find things and then they're under scrutiny. And as we go into 2025, scrutiny is the name of the game because I don't care if the DOJ doesn't want to look into it. We do. I don't care if, let's say, some government agency has some damning evidence about some high official that might have already been president in the past and they want to sequester it simply because they feel like it makes America look weak to our international foes. Okay, now think about it from their perspective. They don't really give a crap about what you think. Their job is to protect America and project America as being strong. If it comes out that a past president, and this is the same thing with the royal family, it's the same thing with anybody, any country that has a powerful position leader, for that leader to come out looking weak makes the country look weak. If the country looks weak, then they're more likely to be attacked. Now, we're not talking about war here. We're talking about little incursions of what would you they're called crypto attacked through the crypto intelligence. Okay, attacked through your intelligence. Um, you don't want to ever look weak. So there are certain agencies that will protect leaders to keep America from looking weak. Okay? So even if that's true, and that is true, even if that's true, guess what? There's going to be a citizen like Reality Winner or some other citizen that's going to come forward and say, not so fast. I found this, except for that it's going to be replicated times many citizens. So the energy suggests that power to the people are going to come up and the people are going to say, we don't want business as usual. We don't care what you think. We don't care what you think about this. We want justice. So, yes, these things are going to be addressed as we go into 25, as we go into 26. Every year that goes by, the energy will get stronger. And really, Kamala Harris is all about this. Kamala Harris is not about covering up anything, she's about truth. So she's going to be on the right side. Now she's also a strategist, and she understands our role in the world, and she definitely understands that the safety of Americans is on her watch as president. She's got a kind of a very thin line to walk here, but in the end result, I think she's really going to side with truth, with being transparent. I think she's going to side more often than not with transparency. Now, again, you guys, so the guides just showed me, well, if she is transparent, that could put our spies at risk. More complicated. Americans just think everything is about the price of eggs, right? Everything is about the price of gas. Screw you, my gas is too high. Well, guess what? It's really about our safety. There's a lot more that goes on in the running of a country than your price of gas or eggs, honestly, right? We have foes, we have people that are our friends, and we have trade deals. All this gets rolled up in the fabric of how well you're doing in your little life, in your little town, in any place USA. Okay. So she understands all of that. It's not going to be an easy job. She's got to deal with people like Netanyahu and Putin and all these people that would rather America not do well. And at the same time, she's going to have people in her own country calling her out every time she turns around. She's going to have a lot of protests. People are going to come out against her because it's safe to do so. Under 45, you had police officers covering up their badge numbers. You had unmarked vans plopping people off of the street. That's not going to happen under Kamala Harris. So there's going to be a lot more protests. Now, that's also because we're healing our wound. If you watched the amazing Dr. Vicky Skirbo in my last video, she talked about this, right? The astrology, numerology, the Kabbalah, all these things are important. These are all important puzzle pieces to help you figure out how your life is going and where you need to go. What Dr. Skirbo told us is, other astrologers who've been on my channel have told us, is America is in a place in our astrology, but also in our energy, because I pick up the energy of healing our wound. You know, the spirit guides told you for a long time, we're kind of going through that civil rights energy where we're going to go back and get an opportunity to work with that energy, to absolve, to forgive, to make it right. This is why you saw Biden giving an apology to Native peoples, which has never happened. For why reason has it never happened? Well, it's happening now because the energy, whether you like it or not, there's energy that propels you, that pushes you, that sways you. We as a country are in this energy of going back over our wounds. Therefore, there's going to be people in the streets saying, hey, we've been mistreated. We don't feel heard. We want better rights. We want better protections. And that's fine. That's why we have the Constitution that's protected in our Constitution. That is perfectly fine. It needs to, of course, be done peacefully, and that's fine. But I would also tell you, people that are putting a lot on her, she's just the president. You guys should be contacting your Congress people. If you're really that excited and exercised about something that's happening, you should be contacting your congressperson. And if you're not contacting your congressperson, if you're not writing them every day, calling them every day, if you're not protesting at their office, then I think you're misguided in going after the president, who doesn't have any control over that. Okay? So she's going to win. I have here they are. I've got 4 of them because I'm going to be so excited. She's going to win, you guys. And then we have work to do. Then we're going to pull up our sleeves and going to work. But it's on all of us. We have to continue to be optimistic. We have to continue to heal these wounds. I'm not telling you guys to walk up to some crazy MAGA person and try and heal their wound. I'm not trying to tell you that. But if someone is a new person coming over to, talk to you about, hey, and this happens all the time on social media. All the time I see people who say, I was a Republican. I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm all for Kamala Harris. I can't do it. There's so many of them. This is the way forward. This is why Kamala Harris says we're all going to work together. We're all in this together. Now, if you got somebody who's really nutty and uncentered, unwell, leave them alone. Do not talk to them. Do not poke at them, because they will be unhinged. They will really be unhinged. And the thing to do is to call the authorities. Protect yourself, video anything, record anything, grab your screenshots, emails, social media threads, make a whole, document with everything. Do what you need to do to stay safe, right? Let me tell you some of the senators that I think are going to win, although I could be wrong because the energy is just insane right now and I cannot get a good beat on it, but I'll just tell you what I think is going to happen right now. And I'll probably be off by 1 or 2 of these. I do believe that Ruben Gallego is going to win over Carrie Lake. I think that Debbie McCarcel Powell is going to win over Rick Scott, but that's one of those elections that is just a shite show. Like when I go into it, it is a wrestling match. Like it's horrible. I think she comes out on top. They telling me she comes out on top. But if it's not fair, if there's shenanigans going on, then that's not something I can predict. If it's taken from her, that is not something I can predict because it overrides the free will. It overrides the way of the land. I mean, the way it's supposed to go down. It overrides that. Okay. Another one is Angela also Brooks and Larry Hogan. I I think she's going to win. They're telling me she's going to win. I'm going to move on. Alyssa Slotkin versus Mike Rogers. Right, Slotkin. I feel like she's going to win. John Tester. I was feeling really good about him yesterday. He is out of gas. I mean, he has nothing left to give. He's literally, it's like you've run the marathon. It's taken you, 15 hours and the finish line is right there, but get you can't get there. Your opponent is nowhere nearby, but you cannot get to the finish line. So I feel like he's going to win. But it's really hard for him right now. He is out of gas, he's out of money, he's out of everything. But I think he's gonna win. This race did a number on his health. He might retire after this race. This race took everything out of him. It was the worst race of his life. But I think he does win. Again, I could be wrong. Jackie Rosen versus Sam Brown. This is in Nevada. I feel like Rosen wins. A particularly sticky seat, contested seat is what they want to say is the Sherrod Brown, Bernie Moreno seat. Bernie Moreno has done a lot of legwork, a lot of he's infiltrated the community. He's caused people to be confused or to these are people that are not paying attention. Like you might say, how could somebody be confused? Well, if you don't normally follow politics, and Sherrod Brown has a long history of politics, so he's got a lot of things that he's voted for or not voted for. There, it's just a lot easier to make somebody like that look bad because they have a whole balance sheet of things that they've done. Bernie Moreno has infiltrated the community. He has spent untold amounts of money, the spirit guides are saying. I think that it's sticky. I think that it's treacherous. I do think Sherrod Brown is going to pull it off, but I'm going to tell you there's like a 5% chance he doesn't. So 5% chance. I mean, another way to look at it is 95% chance that he wins. But another way to look at it is this 5% chance that it could be an upset. So send him your energy, send him your prayers, lift him up, talk to your friends who haven't done the thing yet, get them out to do the thing. There are still people who haven't, believe it or not, the guides are saying there's still people who haven't gone and done the thing. They don't like being a part of this energy. They would rather not be a part of it. So if you come across somebody who might be a family member or a friend who hasn't done the thing, instead of yelling at them, please gently encourage them to go do the thing. Gently talk to them in a calm way. Because in Ohio, you guys have been just beat about the head for months. And people get to a point where they're like, I'm not going to do it because this is stupid, because I'm tired of all the emails. I'm tired of all the texts. And they just get in their, they get in their pissed off position. Gently talk to them. Okay. There's still an opportunity here. I think he wins, but it's sticky. You guys, that's all I can say. That they just keep saying it's sticky. I don't even understand what that means. Bob Casey versus David McCormick. This is in Pennsylvania. I feel like Casey wins. Texas, Ted Cruz versus Colin Allred. I feel like Allred wins, although the pain coming out of Ted Cruz's chest when that happens, there's a collective wound that gets open, like when they talk about narcissist and their wound. You know what I mean? It is dangerous. When a narcissist is wounded, it is dangerous. So this is the collective wound that gets opened when all of these red seats go blue. It's Be careful out there. Okay, last couple is going to be Tammy Baldwin versus Eric Hovde or Hod. I don't know how you say his name. Tammy Baldwin. I feel like they're saying it's a close up. This is Wisconsin. See, again, you notice these swing states. This is where the Republicans have done this kind of mind warping on people, where if they can't convince you that their people are the best people, then they'll convince you that the whole thing is rigged and you should just stay home. It's the chaos factor. This is what the guides are trying to help you understand. Please don't buy into it. This is what I feel like has happened with Tammy Baldwin. There have been some mistruths. There's been some. I got to be careful the words I say. There's been some things done that are not true. And the other thing is, when I go into the energy, he says he won, and she says she won, and then the energy is they've both won, and it's so close that I can't figure it out. Send all your good energy to Sherrod Brown and Tammy Baldwin. Okay. Because they need it. And then Glenn, and this is West Virginia, Joe Manchin's old stomping grounds. Glenn Elliott is the um, Democrat. Jim Justice is the Republican. I think Justice is going to win, but I'm going to tell you that I think West Virginia is going to surprise you guys. I think they're not going to vote for Jim Justice as much as y'all think they will. I don't think this is a safe seat. I think that Glenn Elliott could pull off some kind of crazy win. But it's probably going to go to Jim Justice, but I wouldn't count out the Democrat. I wouldn't count him out. There's so many, the energy is changing so much right now. So that's what I have for that. Who knows, right? In the end, it's really about free will. And the most important thing for you to know is that we're okay. We're going to get through this. We're going to get to calmer times. Even with like protests here and there, it's nothing compared to what we've been through in the past. 45 will continue to be boisterous for a few more months. And then by March or May, an M month, March, April, May, by March or May, he's gone. I don't know if he's gone from this universe or if he's gone from our country or he's gone from his mind, which is possible. We told you guys that he would just fall apart towards the end of this race, and he has. He's fallen apart. The latest recordings I've seen of him is gibberish. Now I know people like Midas Touch have been saying it's been gibberish for months, but I have a higher standard, right? Like, so I just, it has to be pretty obvious for me to co-sign that. I agree that he has been mentally failing, has aphasia, all those things allegedly. But I'm telling you, like yesterday, and you got to just go on decent social media like Threads or TikTok or Instagram, where you're not going to be bombarded by crazy people. And Kamala Harris runs ads nonstop, just showing you 45 and his dysfunction. And I got to tell you, he has fallen apart. Look, he tried to get in a garbage truck. He rode around a parking lot in a garbage truck. He couldn't get in the garbage. He was walking to the garbage truck and his leg just literally went out from under him. He's desperate, you guys. He was serving fries at McDonald's. He's desperate. The man is desperate, okay? Everything is going to get better. We just need to keep our heads screwed on straight. We need to continue to take really good care of ourselves. Don't fall for this chaos, because as Kamala Harris is president, they're just going to switch They're just going to switch tactics. They're going to go into the states. They're going to start this chaos stuff in your red states. You're going to see a lot of friction between the states and the federal government, more and more and more, where the states say no. One of the things that happened in Iowa was that Iowans voted for choice. They voted for women's choice. And then the state Supreme Court said, no, we're going to overturn that. You cannot do this in 2025, you guys. They cannot do this to us in 2025, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. They can't do it. The states cannot take away our will. They cannot take away our rights. That's where you're going to see the real protest is in the streets. Because even though you have the states, the citizens saying this is what we want, the states are going to overturn it. And that's going to be that. You're going to see thousands and tens of thousands of people in the streets protesting those states. That's where the next battleground is in the red states. And that should be a wake-up call to your state Supreme Court, to your governors, to not only that, but the federal courts and the Supreme Court, that you have been ruling against the will of the people. In the Supreme Court, they have what's called settled law. Settled law means, well, it's been a law for so long, and the will of the people support this law. That's what Roe v. Wade was. It was settled law. It had been the law of the land for decades. No one had a problem with it. Everybody was peacefully living with this law. It's settled. So now what you're seeing is these activists. It's interesting because this is what those old neocon Republicans would call Democrats activist judges. Remember that? They would say, oh, they're up there just doing what they want instead of the will of the people. Well, we know now that when Republicans say things like that, they're telling us their own playbook, right? That's what they were doing. It's the same thing with this VOTING shenanigans. They've been saying it's rigged. Well, I'm here to tell you it's rigged, all right. But it's not them that is right. It's us. It's rigged against us. And that's what we're going to start finding out about. So as we get into 25, 26, you're going to get this transparency, and you're going to have more and more investigative journalists really uncovering all of this dirt and grime and nastiness. Because why? We're healing our wound. We're going to heal our wound that happened when we founded this country against and over the will of the Native people, where we brought humans to this country and enslaved them. The wounds of the people will be front and center, and we will be tackling that energy. We're not going to let it stand. You're not going to be able to pull a fast one over us anymore, because now we're awake. You can't pass laws against wokeness because we are awake, and we're not going to let you do that. So as this huge tidal wave of people make their voices heard at the polls, and even with 20 or 30% of them having their voices sequestered, silenced, even with that, it doesn't matter, because we're not going to stop. We're not going to stop telling you what we want, who we are, asking to be respected. We're not going to stop doing that. And the allies are going to join. We're all going to join together. And we're all going to have a bigger voice, a louder voice than the Supreme Court. And that's why they're going to stand down and not do anything silly to Kamala Harris, because they're going to look out at the sea of voices, and they're going to know We can't do this. We need to go with them. We need to stand with the people. Now the states have that lesson to learn still. They're going to learn that lesson. That's their lesson that's coming up. So hopefully this has made given you some reflection, made sense to you. Let me know in the comments what you think. I will be around for sure. Um, Basically, everything is going to be okay. It's not easy. It's messy. The guides always tell you, you go to clean out the garage or the closet. Well, it looks terrible, doesn't it? You've got everything out on the floor. You're going, why did I keep that? I need to throw it away. Wait, no, I need to keep it. I need to get it back out of the trash because I still need it. It's messy. It's it's meant to be messy. We're meant to be involved in it. This is our lesson. We have to be involved all the time. We can't just step away from the terrible situation just because we don't like it. We have to be involved in our local communities and be an ally to those people who would be doing the work, whatever that is, volunteering or running for office. Be an ally. Do what you can to help. Be engaged, but also take really good care of yourself. Take time off. After this whole thing is over, we can take, it's not ours anymore. We've done our work. It's the system's work. We should just some time off. And all that time you spent worrying, all that time you spent doom scrolling, all that time you spent canvassing and calling and text banking, thank you, and thank you, and volunteering, thank you. I want you to pour it back into you. Go get a 7 million piece puzzle and put it together. Go learn a new skill, get a new hobby, have a new hobby online that you watch that you're just interested in. If you don't want to spend any money, just learn about a new hobby online. Why not? If you can, get outside. Let Mother Earth heal you. Give your worries, your pain, your fears, your anxiety up to her, to the sky, to the stars, to the earth, to the ground, to the trees. Mother Earth, this is her job. Her job is to transmute all of our energy into love. She transmutes it. Give it to her. She can handle it. Okay? Take really good care of yourselves. I'll see you again really soon. For entertainment purposes only.